It was 1983. My older siblings took me to the Hayden Planetarium in New York City to see Laser Floyd. I was 11 years old. Surrounded by acid-fueled hippies and cops looking to bust them, I was scared shitless. I had no idea what I was in for. But when we got into our seats and reclined back and looked up at the ceiling, and Speak to Me filled the auditorium and exploded into Breathe, I knew I was witnessing genius. It was otherworldly, and I wanted into that world. With over 50 million copies sold worldwide, Dark Side of the Moon remains, 50 years after its release, among the most critically acclaimed and fan-favorited rock albums of all time. In the fall of 1971, Pink Floyd released Metal. The extended suite Echoes, which took up all of side 2 of the album, was a turning point in their artistic development that gave them the confidence to continue on without Syd Barrett. The band had found their musical footing that would launch them into the next phase of their career. Afterward, while meeting to plan their next tour, Roger Waters announced that he now wanted to record an extended, thematically coherent album whose lyrics could be less abstract and less esoteric than what they had been creating of late. Just addressing the things we all struggle with as human beings in the modern age, including greed, isolation, madness, decay, and death. The rest of the band was on board. They wanted to take this new work on the road in their tour approaching in January of 1972. They only got their basic ideas for Dark Side in November 1971, so they had a lot of work to do in a very short window of time. In December, Roger came up with the idea of having the songs play continuously, one right into the next, further cementing the notion that the album is one long extended piece. In February 72, they started recording at Abbey Road, but continued to play the suite live on their tour, so the recorded material informed the live show and vice versa. By the time they had their stint at the Rainbow Theatre in London beginning February 17th, they had completed writing the entire album and played it live, start to finish. While still in the middle of touring and recording Dark Side, on February 23rd, the band took on another project and flew to Paris to record Obscured by Clouds. They had been hired by acclaimed director Barbet Schroeder to compose the soundtrack to his new film La Vallée. They watched the film, made notes on the timing of the scenes, and recorded the entire album during 2 stints in the studio in Paris. Obscured by Clouds was released in June of 1972. In summer of 72, the band took a 2-month break from touring and recording, and returned to the studio in October to continue recording Dark Side. Amid more touring during the winter, they continued tracking, footage of which can be seen in a re-release of Live at Pompeii. Just as an aside, if you haven't seen the extended cut of Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii with the Abbey Road footage and interviews, go now and watch it. Do not go one more day without seeing this incredible, unique live performance and behind-the-scenes footage. This is one of my favorite movies ever. Finally, on February 1st, 1973, the band completed mixing the album. By the way, the band produced the album themselves, but it was engineered by the musical and technical genius Alan Parsons, whose contributions to the album would elevate him to producer by most standards. After you've gone down the Pink Floyd rabbit hole, please check out the Alan Parsons Project. On March 1st, 1973, Dark Side of the Moon was released, and immediately went to the top of the album charts, where, as of March 2023, it has lived on the Billboard Top 200 chart for a total of 980 weeks, utterly eclipsing, pun intended, all other releases. And this is for an album that contained one single in Money that used a 7/4 time signature, which then switched to 4/4 for 3 bars of the chorus, and another single in Us and Them, an 8-minute anti-war, anti-capitalism dirge that wasn't exactly going to go on anyone's party mix. It was clear that this album was intended to be experienced as one grand piece. Now let's talk guitar. One of the defining features of David Gilmour's guitar work on The Dark Side of the Moon is his use of tone and effects to create a sense of depth and space in the music. He makes use of a wide range of guitar tones, from clean, crisp sounds to distorted, aggressive ones, and blends them together seamlessly to create a rich, textured sound. Gilmour also uses a variety of effects pedals, including delay, reverb, and wah, to add dimension and complexity to his playing. The result is a sonic landscape that is both atmospheric and powerful. Another key aspect of Gilmour's guitar work on the album is his ability to create memorable and melodic solos that perfectly complement the songs. One of the standout examples of this is the guitar solo on the song Time, which has become one of the most iconic guitar solos in rock history. It perfectly captures the mood of the song, which deals with our lives slipping away from our grasp and the inevitability of death in a haunting and beautiful way. For me, this sums up the entire album in its ability to tangle with disquieting subjects against a musical backdrop that's really rooted in pentatonic blues-based riffery, but which has the overall effect of a much more complex composition. But don't take it from me, here are some other opinions on the matter. Gilmour's primary guitar for the album was his legendary 1969 Fender Stratocaster, which he nicknamed the Black Strat. Incidentally, this guitar sold at auction for just under $4 million in 2019. Only Kurt Cobain's Fender Mustang and 1959 Martin D18E have sold for more. For amplification, Gilmour used a combination of high-watt and WEM heads and cabinets, as well as a spinning Leslie speaker cabinet, which we more often associate with Hammond organ. Gilmour also used a range of effects pedals, including a Dallas Arbiter fuzz face, a Binson Echo Rec 2 delay, a Color Sound Power Boost overdrive, a Univox Univibe for chorus and vibrato, and an EMS Synthy Hi-Fly unit that provided a blend of various effects. The guitar throughout this album is a definite precursor to the overdriven, breathy, flangey sounds of The Wall, but also the tight, crisp, high-gain, trebly leads on Animals. Dark Side used both these ends of the spectrum to great emotional and musical effect. If you haven't sat down recently with a good pair of over-ear headphones and listened to Dark Side of the Moon straight through, please take this chance to celebrate this masterpiece's 50th anniversary by doing just that.